Hi, welcome back. It's good to see you again. In IELTS writing, many candidates lose marks not because their English is weak, but because of specific writing habits that examiners notice very early, often within the first paragraph. In this video, I'll show you some common reasons candidates lose marks in IELTS writing, especially in Task 2, and more importantly, how to avoid them. These are not grammar mistakes. They are writing habits that affect your band score before your ideas are even evaluated deeply. Let's start with the first one. The first common reason candidates lose marks is writing memorized or empty opening sentences. Many students begin their essays with sentences like, "Nowadays, this topic has become a controversial issue among people." Or, "In today's modern society, many people have different views about this issue." The grammar here is not wrong. The problem is that these sentences are too general. They could be used for almost any IELTS question, and examiners recognize them immediately. A better approach is to write a specific and neutral opening sentence that clearly introduces the topic. For example, if the topic is online education, you could write, "Online education has become increasingly popular in recent years, particularly with the growth of digital learning platforms." Or, if the topic is public transport, you could write, "Public transport plays a crucial role in many cities by helping people travel efficiently and reducing traffic congestion." Notice that both sentences are simple, specific, and directly related to the topic. They work well as the first sentence of an IELTS essay, even before you give your opinion. Remember, your first sentence does not need to sound impressive. It needs to sound clear, relevant, and natural. The second common reason candidates lose marks in IELTS writing is using over-certain language. Some candidates make claims that sound too strong or absolute, even when the idea itself is reasonable. For example, sentences like, "Living in big cities leads to a better quality of life for everyone," or "Children who play video games become less intelligent." These sentences are not grammatically wrong. However, they present the ideas as universal truths, which is risky in academic writing. IELTS examiners expect claims to be realistic and precise, not sweeping or emotional. A more appropriate academic version of the first sentence would be, "Living in big cities can offer a better quality of life for some people, particularly due to greater access to services and employment." And instead of making a strong claim about all children, you could write, "Excessive video game use may affect certain aspects of children's development, depending on how and how often games are played." Notice that the core idea remains the same, but the language now sounds more measured and academic. In IELTS writing, over-certainty reduces credibility, and credibility directly affects your band score. If this idea sounds familiar, that's because we discussed it in detail in a previous video on hedging in IELTS writing. I have added the link in the description below if you would like a deeper explanation and more practice. The third common reason candidates lose marks is repeating the question instead of answering it. Let's look at a real example. The question asks, "Do you think working from home is beneficial?" Some candidates begin their essay with, "This essay will discuss whether working from home is beneficial or not." If you compare the sentence with the question, you will notice that it simply repeats the task. it adds no new information. Here is another example. The question asks, what are the advantages and disadvantages of coeducation? And the opening sentence is, this essay will discuss the advantages and disadvantages of coeducation. Again, the sentence sounds formal, but it does not answer the question. It only tells the examiner what the essay will do. In IELTS writing, this kind of opening is weak because it shows structure without content. A stronger approach is to begin with a content-based opening sentence. For example, you could write, working from home has become increasingly common, particularly in office-based professions where digital communication is widely used. Or, for the second topic, coeducation is widely practiced in many education systems, allowing male and female students to study together in the same learning environment. Notice the difference. These sentences introduce the topic itself, not the task. You can still give your opinion or thesis later in the introduction, but simply repeating the question without adding any new information will not help your band score. The final common reason candidates lose marks is not giving a clear opinion when one is required. In IELTS Writing Task 2, many questions directly ask for your view. When this happens, the examiner must be able to identify your opinion immediately. Let's look at an example. The question asks, advertising does more harm than good. To what extent do you agree or disagree? But the introduction says there are advantages and disadvantages to advertising, and it affects people in different ways. This sentence is not grammatically wrong, but it does not answer the question. The examiner still doesn't know whether the writer agrees or disagrees. Here is another example. The question states, some people believe that students should study abroad. To what extent do you agree or disagree? And the introduction says, studying abroad has both positive and negative effects, and this essay will discuss them. Again, the position is unclear. In contrast, a clear opinion sounds like this. Overall, I believe advertising does more harm than good because it encourages unnecessary consumption. Or, while studying abroad offers valuable experiences, I largely disagree that it is suitable for all students. These sentences make the writer's position easy to locate, which is exactly what examiners want. Remember, being clear does not mean being extreme. It simply means answering the question directly. As you have seen, many candidates lose marks in IELTS writing not because their English is weak, but because of their writing habits. Using empty openings, repeating the question, sounding too certain, or hiding your opinion, all of these can quietly reduce your band score. The good news is that these problems are easy to fix once you understand what examiners are looking for. In later videos, we will look at how examiners assess task response, coherence and cohesion, grammar and vocabulary in more detail. If you found this video useful, please like, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.